First contact and rescue. Captain Jack Harper stood at the helm of the Starship Odyssey, gazing out at the vast expanse of space before him. As Earth's first deep space exploration vessel, the Odyssey represented humanity's boldest venture yet into the cosmos. Jack felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders to explore, to discover, and to represent his species among the stars. Captain, we're picking up an unusual signal, reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen from her station at communications. It's faint, but definitely artificial in origin. Jack's heart raced. Could this be it? First contact. Can you pinpoint the source? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. Sarah's fingers flew over her console. It's coming from a nearby system, about 2 light-years from our current position. The signal, it almost sounds like a distress call. Jack didn't hesitate. Plot a course, maximum warp. If someone out there needs help, we're going to answer the call. As the Odyssey streaked through space, Jack briefed his senior staff. Dr. Emily Rodriguez, the ship's exobiologist, could barely contain her excitement at the prospect of encountering alien life. Lieutenant Commander David Okafor, head of security, remained cautiously optimistic but insisted on running combat drills, just in case. After 48 tense hours, they arrived in a binary star system. Orbiting the smaller of the 2 suns was a rocky planet with a thin atmosphere, and in orbit around that planet was a ship. It was sleek and silver, its design utterly alien to human eyes. Life signs? Jack asked. Dr. Rodriguez consulted her instruments. 4 biosignatures detected. Weak but stable, they appear to be in some kind of stasis. Their ship's systems are failing, added Chen. Life support is barely functioning. If we don't act fast. Jack nodded grimly. Prepare a boarding party. Dr. Rodriguez, Commander Okafor, you're with me. Let's go make first contact. As they materialized aboard the alien vessel, Jack was struck by how different yet familiar it felt. The corridors were curved and organic, almost grown rather than built. Soft bioluminescent light pulsed along the walls, guiding them deeper into the ship. They found the crew in a central chamber, each suspended in a translucent pod filled with a glowing liquid. Jack approached the nearest pod, his breath catching in his throat as he saw the occupant clearly for the first time. She was humanoid, but unmistakably alien. Her skin was a pale lavender, smooth and slightly iridescent. Delicate antennae sprouted from her forehead, twitching slightly even in stasis. As Jack watched, her eyes fluttered open, revealing irises of swirling silver. "Captain," she whispered, her voice resonating strangely in Jack's mind. "You heard our call." Jack smiled, trying to project calm reassurance. "We're here to help. Can you tell me what happened?" The alien's eyes clouded with sorrow. "We are the last of the Zoraxians. Our homeworld, destroyed by the Crix. We fled, hoping to find sanctuary, but our ship was damaged in the escape. We had no choice but to enter stasis, sending out a desperate plea to the cosmos." Jack's heart ached for their loss. "You're safe now. We'll get you out of stasis and back to our ship. Earth may be far from your home, but I promise you'll find sanctuary there." As they worked to carefully extract the Zoraxians from their pods, Jack learned more about each of them. The one he'd first spoken to was named Lyra, a scientist and the unofficial leader of the group. There was Zara, a fierce warrior with cybernetic enhancements glinting beneath her violet skin. Naya was an empath, her large eyes brimming with compassion. And finally Vesper, an engineer whose intricate tattoos seemed to shift and move of their own accord. Back aboard the Odyssey, Dr. Rodriguez marveled at the Zoraxians' unique biology. "Their cellular structure is fascinating," she reported. "They appear to have a form of bioluminescence integrated into their very DNA. And their brain patterns. I've never seen anything like it." As the days passed, the Zoraxians regained their strength. Jack found himself spending more and more time with them, particularly Lyra. Her intelligence and curiosity about humanity matched his own fascination with her people. One evening, As they stood in the Odyssey's observation lounge, watching the stars streak by, Lyra turned to Jack with an intense expression. "Your people have shown us such kindness," she said softly. "We owe you a debt we can never truly repay." Jack shook his head. "You don't owe us anything. This is what humanity does. We explore, we help those in need, we forge connections across the stars." Lyra's antenna quivered, a sign Jack had come to recognize as strong emotion. Perhaps there is a way we can repay you and secure our future at the same time." "What do you mean?" Jack asked, curious. Lyra took a deep breath. In Zoraxian culture, when a group is saved from certain death, it is customary to offer a profound connection to their savior. "Jack, what I'm trying to say is, we would like to propose marriage. All four of us to you." Jack's eyes widened in shock. "Marriage? But I don't understand. Why all four of you?" Lyra smiled, a hint of amusement in her silver eyes. Zoraxian marriages are not limited to pairs, as they often are in human culture. We believe in forming deep, lasting bonds with multiple partners. It allows for a stronger family unit, more diverse offspring, and a richer emotional connection. Jack's mind reeled. He couldn't deny the growing attraction he felt towards Lyra, and the other Zoraxians had become dear friends in their short time together. But marriage? To four alien women, it seemed impossible. I don't know what to say," he stammered. "This is a lot to process." Lyra placed a gentle hand on his arm. "We understand. Take time to consider our offer. Know that it comes from a place of genuine affection and gratitude. Whatever you decide, we will respect your choice." As Jack lay in his quarters that night, sleep eluded him. The Zoraxian's proposal echoed in his mind, along with the faces of each of them: Lyra's wisdom, Zara's strength, Naya's compassion, and Vesper's brilliance. He thought of the loneliness he'd often felt as a starship captain, the difficulty of forming lasting relationships when duty called him to the far reaches of space. Could this unconventional arrangement be the answer? A family that understood the call of the cosmos, that could stand beside him as humanity took its place among the stars. As the first light of artificial dawn began to fill his quarters, Jack made his decision. He will accept their proposal, not out of obligation, but out of a genuine desire to forge this unique bond. Together, they would face whatever challenges the universe had in store. Little did Jack know that those challenges would come sooner than any of them expected. For even as the Odyssey raced back towards Earth, carrying its precious cargo of newfound love and alliance, a dark force was stirring in the depths of space. The Crix, the very beings who had destroyed the Zoraxian homeworld, had picked up the trail of the last survivors. And they would stop at nothing to finish what they had started: cosmic convergence and hidden threats. As the starship Odyssey streaked through the cosmos, its hull gleaming with the iridescent trails of faster-than-light travel, Captain Jack Harper found himself at the epicenter of a cultural whirlwind. The presence of the four Zoraxian women aboard his vessel had transformed the ship's atmosphere from one of routine exploration to a vibrant nexus of interspecies exchange. In the ship's newly christened Convergence Lounge, a space dedicated to fostering understanding between humans and Zoraxians, Jack watched with growing amazement as his crew and their alien guests engaged in animated discussions. The air crackled with excitement, punctuated by bursts of laughter and gasps of wonder. Lyra, her lavender skin shimmering under the lounge's soft bioluminescent lighting, was deep in conversation with Dr. Emily Rodriguez. The two scientists were hunched over a holographic display, comparing notes on the intricacies of Zoraxian and human DNA. "It's absolutely fascinating," Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide with enthusiasm. "The way your bioluminescence is integrated at the cellular level, it could revolutionize our understanding of bioenergy." Lyra's antennae quivered with pleasure at the human's excitement. "And your species' adaptability is equally remarkable. The potential for genetic enhancement using human traits is intriguing." Jack couldn't help but smile at their shared passion for discovery. It was moments like these that reinforced his decision to accept the Zoraxians' unorthodox marriage proposal. The blend of cultures and knowledge held infinite possibilities. Across the room, Zara, the Zoraxian warrior, was demonstrating her cybernetic enhancements to an awestruck group of security officers. With a thought, she activated a shimmering energy shield that enveloped her body. Quantum entangled particles, she explained, her voice carrying a hint of pride. They react instantly to threats, forming an impenetrable barrier. Lieutenant Commander David Okafor whistled in appreciation. That kind of tech could save countless lives in combat situations. Any chance you'd be willing to share the schematics? Zara's expression grew serious. Normally, such knowledge would be closely guarded, but as we are to become family, she glanced at Jack, who nodded encouragingly. I believe an exchange of defensive technologies would benefit us all. In another corner, Naya, the empath, sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by a group of crew members. Her large, opalescent eyes were closed in concentration as she guided the humans through a Zoraxian meditation technique. Feel the energy flowing through you, she intoned softly. Not just your own life force, but the interconnected web of all living things. The cosmic tapestry that binds us all. Jack watched in amazement as the participating crew members began to glow faintly, their auras becoming visible to the naked eye. It was a testament to the untapped potential within humanity, awakened by alien wisdom. Finally, his gaze fell upon Vesper, the engineer, who was excitedly explaining the principles of Zoraxian propulsion to a rapt audience of human technicians. Her intricate, ever-shifting tattoos seemed to illustrate her words, forming complex diagrams and equations on her skin. By harnessing the quantum foam that underlies the fabric of spacetime, she said, her hands moving animatedly, we can create localized bubbles of warped space. The ship doesn't move through space so much as it surfs on the waves of reality itself. The human engineers exchanged looks of mingled excitement and bewilderment. One of them, a young ensign, raised her hand tentatively. But wouldn't that require an enormous amount of energy? How do you generate and control it? Vesper's eyes lit up at the question. Ah, that's where it gets really interesting. We use a network of crystals grown from. As the technical discussion deepened, Jack felt a swell of pride and hope for the future. This exchange of knowledge and culture was exactly what he had dreamed of when he first took command of the Odyssey. Humanity and Zoraxians, learning from each other, growing together. It was a beautiful vision of what the galaxy could be. But even as he basked in the warm glow of newfound understanding, a chill ran down Jack's spine. A nagging sense of unease that he couldn't quite shake. He excused himself from the gathering and made his way to the bridge, needing to reassure himself that all was well. As the doors to the bridge slid open, Jack was greeted by the familiar hum of instruments and the steady voices of his command crew. Everything seemed normal, and yet... Status report, he barked, perhaps a bit more sharply than intended. Lieutenant Sarah Chen looked up from her console, a slight frown creasing her brow. All systems nominal, Captain. We're on course for Earth, ETA 72 hours. But, she hesitated. But what, Lieutenant? Jack prompted, that sense of unease growing stronger. Sarah's fingers danced over her console, bringing up a complex sensor read out on the main view screen. I've been detecting some unusual subspace fluctuations in our wake. At first, I thought it was just background noise, but the pattern is too regular. It's almost as if we're being followed, Jack finished grimly. He studied the readout, his mind racing. Could it be the Krix, the destroyers of the Zoraxian homeworld? Had they somehow picked up the trail of the survivors? Tactical analysis, he ordered, turning to the weapons station. The tactical officer, a seasoned veteran named Hawkins, shook his head in frustration. Inconclusive, sir. Whatever's causing those fluctuations, it's staying just at the edge of our sensor range. Could be a cloaked ship, or some kind of long-range probe, or it could be nothing at all. Jack's jaw clenched. He knew better than to ignore his instincts, and right now, Every fiber of his being was screaming that they were in danger, but he couldn't risk alarming the crew or their Zoraxian guests without more concrete evidence. "Double our sensor sweeps," he commanded. "I want to know the instant anything unusual shows up, and quietly increase our shield strength. Let's not take any chances." As his orders were carried out, Jack's mind turned to the 4 Zoraxian women who had become so much more than refugees under his protection. They were now his fiancées, his future wives, and the thought of any harm coming to them filled him with a fierce, protective rage. He tapped his communicator. "Lyra, could you and the others meet me in my ready room? There's something we need to discuss." Minutes later, the 4 Zoraxian women filed into the captain's private office, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. Jack took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he had to say. "I believe we may be in danger," he began without preamble. "There are signs that we're being followed, possibly by the Crix." Zora's cybernetic implants pulsed with a harsh red light, her body tensing for battle. "How did they find us?" "Our stasis pods were designed to mask our life signs." Naya placed a calming hand on Zora's arm, her empathic abilities sensing the warrior's surge of anger and fear. "Perhaps they detected the energy signature of our ship when the humans rescued us. Or they have a way of tracking Zoraxians that we don't know about," Lara finished, her scientific mind already analyzing the possibilities. Vesper, ever the problem solver, leaned forward eagerly. "If they are following us, I might be able to modify our shields to mask our warp signature. It won't throw them off completely, but it could buy us some time." Jack nodded approvingly. "Do it. Work with our engineering team, share whatever knowledge you need to. Our priority now is reaching Earth safely." As the Zoraxians hurried off to begin their preparations, Jack felt a complex mix of emotions wash over him. Pride in their quick thinking and willingness to help, fear for their safety and that of his crew, and underneath it all, a growing sense of responsibility. These women had entrusted their lives and their hearts to him. He would not let them down. Little did Jack know that the true test of his commitment and of the fledgling bond between humans and Zoraxians was just beginning. For in the vast, cold reaches of space, a Crix battle fleet was indeed closing in, and their intentions were far more sinister than anyone aboard the Odyssey could have imagined. As the ship raced towards Earth, carrying its precious cargo of newfound love and fragile alliance, the stage was set for a confrontation that would determine not just the fate of 2 species, but the very future of the galaxy itself. The coming storm would test the limits of Jack's leadership, the strength of his unconventional relationship, and the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see if this bold experiment in interspecies cooperation would flourish or be snuffed out before it had truly begun. In the depths of space, the chase was on, and the Odyssey, bearing the hopes and dreams of 2 civilizations, flew on through the night, a beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. Quantum entanglement and stellar subterfuge. The starship Odyssey pulsed through the cosmic void, its hull shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence. Captain Jack Harper stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the starfield before him, searching for any sign of their unseen pursuers. The air was thick with tension, each crew member acutely aware of the danger that lurked just beyond their senses' reach. "Captain," Vesper's voice crackled over the comm, "we've completed the shield modifications. Our warp signature is now masked by a quantum flux field." Jack allowed himself a small smile. The Zoraxian engineer's brilliance never ceased to amaze him. "Excellent work, Vesper. How long will it hold?" There was a pause, and Jack could almost see Vesper's intricate tattoos swirling in concentration. "Difficult to say. The field is stable for now, but it's drawing significant power. We may need to drop out of warp periodically to prevent overload." "Understood. Keep me posted on any fluctuations." Jack turned to his tactical officer. "Hawkins, any change in those subspace distortions?" Hawkins frowned at his console. "Negative, sir. But There's something odd about their pattern. It's almost as if. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that made Jack's blood run cold. A massive Krix battlecruiser had materialized directly in their path, its obsidian hull seeming to devour the very light of the stars around it. Evasive maneuvers, Jack barked, but even as the words left his mouth, he knew it was too late. A sickly green energy beam lanced out from the Krix ship, enveloping the Odyssey in its otherworldly glow. "We're caught in some kind of tractor beam," Lieutenant Chen reported, her fingers dancing frantically over her console. "Our engines are offline. We're being pulled in." Jack's mind raced. How had the Krix found them so quickly? And more importantly, how were they going to get out of this? He tapped his communicator. "All hands, prepare for possible boarding action. Security teams to critical areas. Zaraxian contingent to the bridge immediately." Within moments, Lyra, Zara, Naya, and Vesper burst onto the bridge, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. Zara's cybernetic implants pulsed an angry red, while Naya's empathic abilities radiated waves of calm to the panicked crew. "We underestimated them," Lyra said grimly. "The Krix must have developed some form of quantum entanglement tracking. They weren't following our warp signature at all, they were locked onto our very atoms." Before Jack could respond, the view screen flickered again. A face appeared, if it could be called a face. The Krix commander was a nightmarish fusion of organic and mechanical parts, its eyes glowing with an unnatural intelligence. "Humans," the creature's voice grated like metal on bone, "you harbor fugitives of the Krix Imperium. Surrender the Zaraxian rebels, and we may yet spare your pitiful vessel." Jack stepped forward, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. "This is Captain Jack Harper of the Earth ship Odyssey. The Zaraxians are under our protection. We will not surrender them or anyone else aboard this vessel." The Krix commander's mechanical eyes narrowed. "Then you have chosen extinction. Prepare to be boarded. Resistance is." Suddenly, the transmission cut off. The green tractor beam flickered and died. Jack turned to see Vesper at an auxiliary console, her tattoos glowing with an inner light. "I've managed to create a localized phase variance," she explained breathlessly. "It won't last long, but it should give us a chance too." To do this, Zara finished, activating her personal shield and extending it to encompass the entire bridge. "Vesper, can you get our engines back online?" As Vesper worked her technological magic, Lyra turned to Jack, her silver eyes blazing with intensity. "Captain, Jack, we need to end this. The Krix will never stop hunting us, and now they've set their sights on Earth as well. We have to take the fight to them." Jack nodded grimly. He had come to the same conclusion. "What did you have in mind?" Lyra's antenna quivered with excitement. "A quantum torpedo. Using principles similar to their entanglement tracking, we could create a weapon that bypasses their shields entirely. But we'll need to get aboard their ship to plant it." "A suicide mission," Jack said softly. "Not necessarily," Naya interjected, her empathic abilities sensing the turmoil in Jack's mind. "I believe I can use my powers to cloud the Krix's perceptions. Create a psychic smokescreen, if you will. It won't last long, but it might be enough to get a small team aboard undetected." Jack looked around at his crew, human and Zaraxian alike. The fate of two species, perhaps the entire galaxy, rested on their next move. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of command settling on his shoulders. "All right, here's the plan. Vesper, you and our engineering team will construct this quantum torpedo. Zara, you'll lead the infiltration team. Your combat skills will be crucial. Naya, you'll provide psychic cover. Lyra, I need you here, coordinating the scientific aspects of the mission." He turned to his human crew. "Lieutenant Chen, you're with Zara. Hawkins, be ready with every weapon we've got. We'll need to hit them hard the moment that torpedo detonates." As the crew rushed to their stations, Jack felt a hand on his arm. He turned to see Lyra, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Jack," she whispered, "I know we haven't had much time together, but I want you to know, whatever happens, my hearts belong to you. All of our hearts do." Jack pulled her close, feeling the warmth of her alien body against his. "We're going to make it through this," he promised. "All of us. And when we do, we'll have one hell of a wedding to plan." Lyra laughed softly, the sound like tinkling crystals. "I look forward to it, my love." As they broke apart, Jack saw similar scenes playing out across the bridge. Chen and Zara sharing a warrior's handclasp, Naya offering words of comfort to a nervous ensign, Vesper already deep in discussion with the engineering team. Human and Zoraxian, working together as one. The Odyssey might be outgunned and outnumbered, but they had something the Crix could never understand: the power of love, trust, and shared purpose. As the ship prepared for its most daring mission yet, Jack allowed himself a moment of hope. "What did you have in mind?" Jack asked, intrigued. Vesper's tattoos swirled with excitement as she explained her idea. A massive space station combining the best of human and Zoraxian technology. A place where their cultures could mingle freely, where scientific breakthroughs could be shared, and where the seeds of a true galactic community could take root. "We could call it Xenomorphic Xanadu," Vesper finished, her eyes shining. Jack laughed, pulling her into a tight embrace. "It's brilliant. Ambitious as hell, but brilliant." When the council returned, their decision was unanimous. Earth would welcome the Zoraxians with open arms, and together they would embark on a bold new chapter in both their histories. The construction of Xenomorphic Xanadu was approved, with Jack and his unique family unit placed in charge of the project. As news of the alliance spread across the globe, reactions were mixed. There was fear and uncertainty, yes, but also an overwhelming sense of excitement. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries: first contact, a glimpse of their place in a larger cosmic community. And now, thanks to the courage and compassion of one starship captain and 4 extraordinary alien women, that dream was becoming reality. In the months that followed, Xenomorphic Xanadu took shape in Earth's orbit. It was a marvel of engineering and artistry, its graceful spiral arms housing laboratories, living quarters, and vast arboretums filled with plant life from both worlds. At its heart stood a massive holographic chamber, capable of projecting real-time images of distant star systems and facilitating communication across vast interstellar distances. And at the very top of the station's central spire, in a chamber with a breathtaking view of both Earth and the star-studded cosmos beyond, Jack Harper and his Zoraxian brides finally exchanged their vows. It was a ceremony unlike any in human history, blending traditions from 2 worlds and symbolizing the dawn of a new era of cosmic cooperation. As they sealed their union with a kiss, or rather, a series of kisses, Jack felt a sense of completeness he had never known before. He was no longer just Captain Harper of Earth, nor simply the savior of the last Zoraxians. He was something new, a bridge between worlds, the patriarch of a family that embodied the very best of what sentient life could achieve when it reached across the stars with open hearts and minds. The future stretched out before them, filled with challenges and wonders beyond imagining. There would be more battles to fight, more mysteries to unravel, and undoubtedly more civilizations to encounter. But whatever the cosmos had in store, Jack knew that he and his extraordinary family would face it together. As the ceremony concluded and the newlyweds gazed out at the glittering expanse of space, Laura leaned in close, her antenna brushing Jack's cheek. "So, my love," she whispered, a mischievous glint in her silver eyes, "are you ready for your first lesson in Zoraxian honeymoon customs?" Jack grinned, pulling her close as the other 3 joined them. "Lead the way, ladies. Something tells me this is going to be one hell of an adventure." And as Xenomorphic Xanadu rotated majestically in orbit, its gleaming surface a testament to the power of love and cooperation across the stars, a new chapter in galactic history began to unfold. The story of Captain Jack Harper and his Zoraxian brides was just the beginning. A cosmic fairy tale that would inspire generations of humans and aliens alike to reach out, to connect, and to dream of a universe united in diversity and harmony. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of a greater cosmic odyssey. Steady as she goes, he ordered, a fierce grin spreading across his face. Shields at maximum. Weapons hot. The moment that torpedo detonates, I want every ounce of firepower we have unleashed on that monstrosity. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when humanity and Zoraxia stand together. A cheer went up from the crew, human and alien voices raised as one in defiance of the looming threat. Meanwhile, aboard the Krix ship, Zara and Chen had reached a critical juncture. The entrance to engineering lay before them, guarded by a phalanx of Krix drones. Their borrowed invisibility was beginning to flicker and fade. "We'll never fight our way through," Chen hissed, frustration evident in her voice. Zara's cybernetic eye whirred as she analyzed the situation. "Perhaps we don't have to," she mused. With lightning speed, she reached out and tapped a series of commands into a nearby control panel. Instantly, klaxons began to wail throughout the ship. Krix voices chittered in alarm as emergency force fields sprang to life, cutting off sections of the corridor and separating the guards from their post. "Impressive," Chen grinned as they slipped past the chaos and into engineering. "Remind me never to play chess against you." They worked quickly, Zara's knowledge of Krix technology guiding them to the perfect spot to plant their deadly payload. As Chen armed the quantum torpedo, its core pulsing with barely contained energy, Zara felt a sudden pang of something. Regret, fear, or perhaps... "You know," she said softly, her normally fierce demeanor softening, "when this is over, we should discuss the possibility of including you in our marriage arrangement. Your bravery and quick thinking would be valuable assets to our family unit." Chen blinked in surprise, a blush creeping across her cheeks. Let's focus on surviving first, shall we? Torpedoes armed. We've got 2 minutes to clear the blast radius." As they raced back through the twisting corridors, alarms blaring around them, Chen couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement at the prospect. An interspecies polyamorous marriage was about as far from her traditional upbringing as one could get. But after everything they'd been through, why the hell not? The final seconds ticked down as Zara and Chen rematerialized on the Odyssey's transporter pad, breathless and exhilarated. "Now," Jack rolled from the bridge. The quantum torpedo detonated, reality itself seeming to fracture around the Krix vessel. The amplification effect from the Odyssey's modified shields turned the blast into a miniature supernova, the Krix ship disintegrating in a spectacular eruption of light and energy. As the shockwave rolled over them, the Odyssey's crew held their breath. For a heart-stopping moment, it seemed as though their own shields might buckle under the onslaught. But Vesper's modifications held, and as the chaos subsided, a ragged cheer went up from every deck. They had done it. Against impossible odds, this ragtag family of humans and aliens had struck a devastating blow against one of the most feared forces in the galaxy. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Jack found himself surrounded by his Zoraxian fiancés, each reaching out to touch him, to reassure themselves that he was real, that they had all survived. And in that moment of shared triumph and relief, something profound shifted in their relationship. This wasn't just about cultural exchange or strategic alliances anymore. They had faced death together, fought side by side against a threat that would have destroyed them all. The bonds forged in that crucible of combat were unbreakable. "My loves," Jack said softly, his voice thick with emotion, "let's go home." As the Odyssey set a course for Earth, its crew basking in the glow of victory, none of them could have imagined the challenges that still lay ahead. For news of their triumph would spread quickly across the stars, drawing the attention of forces both benevolent and malevolent. The galaxy was changing, and at the heart of that change stood an unlikely family, human and Zoraxian, bound together by love, courage, and a shared vision of a future where the boundaries between species blurred and faded in the light of a greater unity. Their journey was far from over, but whatever trials awaited them, they would face them together, as one cosmic culmination and xenomorphic Xanadu. The Starship Odyssey emerged from hyperspace in a dazzling burst of quantum particles, Earth's familiar blue orb growing larger in the viewscreen. Captain Jack Harper felt a surge of emotion as he gazed upon his homeworld, knowing that the events of the past few weeks had irrevocably changed humanity's place in the cosmos. With being hailed, Lieutenant Chen reported, her voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. It's the United Earth Council, sir. They're requesting our immediate presence at the Global Defense Headquarters. Jack exchanged glances with his Zoraxian fiancés. This was the moment of truth. How would Earth react to the arrival of these extraordinary alien refugees? And more importantly, how would they respond to the unconventional relationship that had blossomed between their decorated starship captain and 4 extraterrestrial women? Well, Jack said with a wry smile, I suppose it's time to face the music. Lyra, Zara, Naya, Vesper, are you ready for this? The Zoraxians nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and nervous anticipation. As they prepared to beam down to the surface, Jack couldn't help but marvel at how far they'd come. From a chance encounter in deep space to a family unit forged in the crucible of interstellar conflict, their journey had been nothing short of miraculous. The transporter beam shimmered around them, and suddenly, they found themselves in the cavernous main chamber of the Global Defense Headquarters. A semicircle of stern-faced officials regarded them with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Captain Harper, a silver-haired woman at the center of the group, spoke, her voice carrying the weight of authority. I am Admiral Zhang, head of the United Earth Council. We've received your preliminary report, but I think you'll agree that this situation requires a more thorough explanation. Jack stepped forward, his back straight and his voice clear. Admiral, members of the Council, I stand before you today, not just as a captain of Earth's fleet, but as a representative of a new era in galactic relations. The Zoraxian people have suffered greatly at the hands of the Krix, an expansionist empire that threatens not just their civilization, but potentially our own. In rescuing these survivors and forming an alliance with them, we've taken our first steps towards a greater interstellar community. He paused, taking a deep breath before continuing. And yes, I have entered into a personal relationship with these 4 remarkable individuals. I understand that this may seem unusual by Earth standards, but I assure you, the bond we share has only strengthened our resolve to protect both our peoples and forge a brighter future for all sentient life in the galaxy. A murmur rippled through the assembled officials. Admiral Zhang's expression remained unreadable as she turned her attention to the Zoraxians. And you're willing to share your advanced technology with us, to help us prepare for potential Krix incursions. Lyra stepped forward, her silver eyes shimmering with sincerity. We are. But more than that, we wish to share our culture, our knowledge, our very selves with humanity. We believe that together, our species can achieve greatness beyond imagining. What followed was hours of intense questioning, debate, and discussion. The Zoraxians demonstrated their unique abilities, Zara's cybernetic enhancements, Naya's empathic powers, Vesper's technological brilliance, and Lyra's advanced scientific knowledge. They spoke of the Krix threat, of the wonders and terrors that awaited humanity among the stars, and of the potential for a new kind of interspecies cooperation. As the session wore on, Jack could see the initial skepticism in the council members' eyes gradually giving way to wonder and excitement. The possibilities presented by this unprecedented alliance were simply too great to ignore. Finally, Admiral Zhang called for a brief recess. As the council members filed out to deliberate, Jack and his Zoraxian family found themselves alone in the chamber. Well, Zara said, a hint of her warrior's bravado creeping into her voice, that wasn't so bad. No one tried to dissect us, at least. Naya chuckled, her empathic abilities sensing the lightening mood. I believe we've made a positive impression. There's fear, yes, but also hope, curiosity, a genuine desire to understand. Vesper, who had been unusually quiet throughout the proceedings, suddenly perked up. Jack, I've been thinking, what if we could offer them something truly spectacular, a symbol of our commitment to this new alliance? They were about to attempt the impossible, but then again, wasn't that what humanity did best? As the infiltration team made their final preparations, the air on the Odyssey crackled with a mixture of fear and determination. Jack watched as Zara donned her battle armor, the cybernetic enhancements humming with deadly purpose. Lieutenant Chen stood beside her, looking small in comparison, but no less fierce. "Remember," Jack said, his voice low and intense, "this isn't just about survival anymore. It's about showing the Crix and the rest of the galaxy what happens when you mess with the combined might of humanity and Zaraxia." Zara nodded, her eyes glowing with an inner fire. "We will not fail, Captain. For our peoples, for our future, for love." As the team shimmered out of existence, transported to the Crix vessel under the cover of Naya's psychic smokescreen, Jack turned back to the bridge. The real battle was about to begin, and he needed to be ready for anything. Little did he know that the next few hours would test not just his skills as a captain, but the very foundations of his newfound relationship. For in the crucible of combat, the true strength of their interspecies bond would be forged or shattered forever. Galactic Gambit and Quantum Quandaries. The cold, sterile corridors of the Crix battlecruiser echoed with an eerie silence as Zara and Lieutenant Chen materialized aboard. The quantum torpedo, a sleek device pulsing with otherworldly energy, was clutched tightly in Chen's arms. Naya's psychic smokescreen shimmered around them, rendering them invisible to the Crix's advanced sensors. "Remember," Zara whispered, her cybernetic implants scanning for threats, "we have precisely 17 minutes before Naya's power begins to wane. Every second counts." Chen nodded grimly, her training kicking in despite the alien nature of their surroundings. "Lead the way, warrior princess." As they crept through the ship's labyrinthine interior, the true nature of the Crix became horrifyingly clear. The walls seemed to pulse with an organic quality, tendrils of biomechanical circuitry snaking across surfaces. Pods lined the corridors, each containing a half-formed Crix drone suspended in a sickly green fluid. By the cosmic core, Zara breathed, her violet skin paling. They're not just conquering species, they're assimilating them, turning them into this. Chen swallowed hard, pushing down her revulsion. All the more reason to blow this abomination out of the sky. Where's the central power core? Zara's antennae twitched, picking up faint energy signatures, 3 levels down, but we'll have to pass through their main engineering bay. It'll be heavily guarded. Then we'll just have to get creative, Chen grinned, a plan already forming in her mind. Back on the Odyssey, Captain Jack Harper paced the bridge, every fiber of his being attuned to the mission unfolding on the enemy's ship. Lyra stood at the science station, her silver eyes fixed on readouts streaming in from their infiltration team's biomonitors. "Their heart rates are elevated," Lyra reported, concern evident in her voice. "But they're still moving. They've made it past the first set of security checkpoints." Jack nodded, allowing himself a small measure of hope. "Vesper, how are those shield modifications coming?" The engineer's voice crackled over the comm, tinged with excitement and exhaustion. "Almost there, Captain. I've remodulated our deflectors to create a quantum resonance field. When the torpedo detonates, it should amplify the blast exponentially, while protecting us from the worst of it." "Outstanding work," Jack replied, marveling once again at the Zoraxian's brilliance. He turned to Naya, who sat in a meditative pose, her brow furrowed in concentration. "How are you holding up?" Naya's eyes fluttered open, glowing with an otherworldly light. "The strain is considerable," she admitted. "The Crix mines are unlike anything I've encountered. So cold, so empty. But I will not falter. Our family's future depends on it." Jack placed a comforting hand on her shoulder, feeling a surge of affection for this remarkable being who had so quickly become an integral part of his life. "Just a little longer," he assured her. "They're almost." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. The main view screen flickered to life, showing a massive energy build-up within the Crick's vessel. "They're charging weapons," Hawkins shouted from tactical. "Multiple target locks detected." Jack's mind raced. Had they been discovered? Was this the end? But then, improbably, a laugh bubbled up from deep within him. The Cricks had no idea what was coming.